Major development. US President Donald Trump has claimed that Israel and Lebanon have agreed to formally begin a 10-day ceasefire starting 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time Tuesday, following his conversations with Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Lebanon's President Joseph Aoun. In a post on his social media platform Truth Social, Trump said the two leaders agreed to the ceasefire as part of efforts to move towards a broader peace process, adding that Israeli and Lebanese representatives had also met earlier in Washington, D.C. for their first engagement in 34 years. Trump has also invited Netanyahu and Lebanon's President Joseph Aoun to the White House. Trump said Vice President J.D. Vance and Secretary of State Marco Rubio have been tasked with working alongside both countries to help secure a lasting peace agreement. Earlier, Lebanon's President Joseph Aoun had spoken with Trump and thanked him for his efforts to secure a ceasefire and restore stability in Lebanon. President Aoun also held talks with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, with both sides expressing hope that ongoing diplomatic contacts could move toward a broader ceasefire framework. However, there has been no formal joint confirmation yet from either Israel or Lebanon on the ceasefire timeline announced by Trump. Tensions have remained high since Iran-backed Hezbollah launched cross-border attacks in the month of March this year, triggering Israeli military operations and forcing residents in northern Israel into shelters. Meanwhile, in Beirut, reactions remain divided, with some residents supporting negotiations for peace while others opposing any direct engagement with Israel. We have Major General Ashwani Sivach, defense and geopolitical expert, now joining us on the broadcast. For more, Major General Ashwani Sivach, thank you so much for taking time out to be with us here on News9. Tell us your first thoughts. Trump says there's going to be a 10-day long ceasefire, but we're yet to hear from either Netanyahu or Lebanon's president.
I think, Krishna, there's no doubt it is ice breaking. The point was that when the second round of talk, which was to take place between US and Iran, so the Iran has put a condition that there can't be any further talk until there is a ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon. So once that has been achieved, I think now that there are possibility of having a second round of peace talk between US and Iran in possibly in Islamabad. Now, why these peace talks have been successful? Remember that initially only that the US has basically forced both the president of Lebanon, Aoun Joseph, and the Prime Minister of Israel, Netanyahu, to come to the Washington. After 34 years, they had a direct talk, and now the peace has been brokered and there will be a ceasefire for 10 days. I think it is a step in a right direction. It will also help in the second round of negotiation. Now, the problem here is not Lebanon. There is no problem between Israel and Lebanon. The problem is between Israel and Hezbollah. Hezbollah is a proxy of Iran. And remember, there are three proxies: Hamas, Hezbollah, and Houthi. Out of them, Hamas is a Sunni militant group, whereas the Hezbollah and Houthi rebel are Shia militant group. And now, as far as Hezbollah is concerned, they say that we are not going to follow this ceasefire. And Hezbollah is the one which is in the southern Lebanon, and they are the one which are attacking the northern part of Israel. And almost 1 lakh people have been, you can say, settled down to a different place. Now, what Israel is trying to do is trying to push Hezbollah toward the central part of Lebanon and go up to Litani River, which is about 30 kilometers, make it a buffer zone. And this fight is going on, and there was a guerrilla warfare being done by Hezbollah, and Hezbollah is quite strong. Because they have got weapons from Iran, and they have got the best of the weapons in terms of missile, rocket, drones. But certainly, in case if this peace prevails in between Israel and Hezbollah, and that is a part of Lebanon, I think it's a step in the right direction. It will have a positive impact in the talk which is going to take place between US and Iran, and possibility of having some sort of result coming out on the second talk become much higher because it shows that US can deliver.
We have some more breaking news that's coming in. Stay with us. Lebanon's Prime Minister has welcomed the ceasefire announcement. Lebanon's Prime Minister Nawaf Salam welcomed US President Donald Trump's ceasefire announcement earlier in the day, which aims to pause hostilities between Israel and Lebanon. In a post on social media platform X, Lebanon's Prime Minister has also thanked countries involved in the efforts to broker a truce, including the US, France, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Qatar, and Jordan. That's the latest. But we're getting Major Ashwani Sivach. With that announcement, it looks fairly clear that the ceasefire has been reached, and that will be a major turning point as far as the overall conflict in West Asia is concerned.
Absolutely, and this was the basically obstacle which was taking place between talks between Iran and US. Since Hezbollah is the one of the militant group which announced in the beginning only that in case the Iran is being attacked, then they are going to join this war and protect or try to now attack Israel, and they did it. And once the war started on 28th February, now on 2nd March itself, Hezbollah has come into the forefront. So the point was coming on in case if there is a truce between Israel and also US, Israel as well as US between with Iran, then as far as Iran is concerned, they can't leave Hezbollah high and dry. And therefore, the one of the sticking point as far as Iran was saying is that they can't be sort of a talk between Iran and US until there is a truce between Israel and Lebanon, especially with Hezbollah. And once that has been achieved, this open a gate for the second round talks which is taking place now in Islamabad. And one is very hopeful that it will now come out with some positive result. As it is, Donald Trump don't want to now go for another round of war because Donald Trump popularity is going down day by day in US. The inflation is very high, unemployment is there, and there are midterm election in November. So therefore, as far as US is concerned, they want to come out of this war, and that's why US forced even Israel to accept this sort of truce because Israel was not very keen because Israel wanted that Lebanon, especially that Hezbollah should be pushed and it can make a buffer zone up to Litani River, which is 30 kilometers. But I suppose it is a step in the right direction. And not only US, the France, as you are mentioning, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and all these countries, which are Gulf countries, they wanted some sort of peace should prevail there because they have been hit more maximum. Their economy has been completely shattered. The energy sector is almost working on a 25%. The tourism is almost gone. So therefore, I think it is a good beginning and it's a positive result. And I think the whole world will appreciate this.
Fair enough. We'll leave it at that. Major Ashwani Sivach, defense and geopolitical expert. Thank you so much for taking time out to be this year.